This is a Hercules Beetle, and this is your dad's Ford F-150. And there's no way on earth a bug the size of a Snickers bar can lift that truck, right? I mean, not only is the Ford many times bigger than the Beetle, but it also weighs about 5,000 pounds. This Beetle weighs about as much as a chicken nugget. So what possibility does this tiny creature even have in lifting this massive truck? Well, according to rumors, the Hercules Beetle can lift up to 850 times its own body weight. That is an outrageously large number. If humans were that strong, we would be able to pick up a pickup truck like it was nothing, or even a sperm whale. But the question is, could a Hercules Beetle weighing about 120 grams pull that off? Well, a curious professor over at Berkeley University decided to put a Hercules Beetle to the test to see how much weight this small insect was actually capable of carrying. And what he discovered was a little different from expectations. Roger Cram took a Hercules Beetle, strapped a piece of lead onto its back that weighed at least 100 times its own weight, and placed it on a treadmill. And as you can see in the footage, the Beetle actually cleared it. It managed to carry over 100 times its own body weight while walking, and Cram said it did it with impressive energy efficiency too. But if you look closely, the poor guy is definitely struggling to haul all that weight. Now don't get it twisted. Carrying 100 times your own weight is still a major flex. That means a male Hercules Beetle could carry a bowling ball, a 24-pack of bottled water, or even 8 Ultrabooks on its back. Yes, this is a real Twitter post from the company Intel that I found while researching for this video. Thought it was kinda cool, you know? But anyway, it's no coincidence the Hercules Beetle was named after the mythological hero Hercules, known for its impressive strength. However, that is nothing compared to 850 times its own weight, which is actually what most sources seem to claim. And I've done the research, and I could not find a single legit source or proof to back this up. It seems as if someone just came up with this random number and then everyone else just followed along like it was all cool. But now let's pretend this 120 grams Hercules Beetle was able to lift up to 850 times its own weight. That means it would be capable of lifting about 220 pounds, or 100 kilograms. It could carry a large washing machine, a vending machine, a refrigerator, or even your mom's couch. If humans had this power, we could carry 40 Ford F-150s, something the strongest man in the world can only dream of achieving. But strength isn't even the Beetle's most ridiculous feature. Look at these horns. These massive thoracic horns can reach over 3 inches long, sometimes making up more than half their body length. Some males reach almost 7 inches long with the horn included, and for scale, that's longer than a dollar bill. Unfortunately for the females though, they don't get to have this beauty. Classic dimorphism. Now, you would think the males would use their horns for something practical, like digging or self-defense. And don't get me wrong, they do. But they mostly use it to impress the females. 2 males will face off like pro wrestlers. They lock those massive, plier-like horns in a grueling test of raw strength, relentlessly trying to gain dominance over the other. One beetle pins another on its horn, rearing up to a nearly vertical stance. In that moment, the loser's body is held sideways, absolutely powerless. The winner then lifts its adversary a little, carrying it up to a few feet, and finally slams it down onto the forest floor. And the female Hercules Beetle, watching the whole thing go down, happily mates with the winner. Or the male beetle picks up the other male with its horn and throws it off a tree, and then mates with the female before the other male has a chance. Nature is pretty ruthless, I must say. Also, did I ever mention these things can fly? They aren't exactly smooth with it though. A Hercules Beetle takeoff looks more like a drunk helicopter trying to leave a parking lot. And speaking of helicopter, that is precisely what they sound like when taking flight. Just listen for yourself. Pretty cool, right? Now, you won't find these Hercules Beetles just anywhere in the world. They live in the tropical rainforests of southern Mexico, Central America, South America, and the Lesser Antilles. They live where it's warm, humid, and full of rotting fruit and tree sap, which is basically their version of a 5-star buffet. They spend most of their lives hidden away as larvae underground, growing to massive sizes before finally emerging as the armored titans we see. Speaking of armored titans, the Hercules Beetle isn't the only absolute unit in the insect world. It belongs to a whole family of heavyweight champions known as dynastine scarabs, better known as rhinoceros beetles. You've got the Titan beetle, which ditches the fancy horn for terrifying jaws, capable of snapping a pencil in half. The Atlas beetle, which looks like it has a medieval trident glued to its face. The Japanese rhinoceros beetle, which is so beloved in Japan that kids literally keep them as pets and raise them like Pokemon. And you got plenty more like the elephant beetle, Goliath beetle, the Eastern Hercules Hercules Beetle and the Dung Beetle. And while the Hercules Beetle might be the Arnold Schwarzenegger of the bunch, these other beetles, especially the Dung Beetle, are definitely giving it a run for its money. But here's the saddest part of this entire story. You see, for all that strength, for all that armor, and for those magnificent horns, their time in the spotlight is heartbreakingly short. Remember those larvae I mentioned? They spend up to 2 years living underground as a giant, pulsating grub. That is roughly 90% of their entire lifespan spent eating rotting wood in the dark. And when they finally emerge as these majestic creatures, they only live for about 3 to 6 months. That's it. That is the life of a Hercules beetle. Evolution has specialized this bug for one single purpose: to be strong enough to wrestle a rival, impress a mate, and pass on its genes before its battery runs out. So let's circle back to the Ford F-150. Can the Hercules beetle lift a truck? No. And the whole 850 times its body weight thing is basically just an internet fairy tale. But honestly, the truth is cooler than the fiction. The fact that a creature this small can lift 100 times its own weight is a biological miracle. And it doesn't need to lift a Ford F-150 to earn my respect. And you don't have to lift 100 times your own body weight to earn mine's either. Lifting just one finger and tapping that subscribe button will suffice. Catch you later.